While the world is abuzz with media noise and the endless chase for fame, there is one man who commands an entire nation's attention without uttering a single word. In an age ruled by likes, posts, and headlines, he neither poses nor performs, yet his presence shapes the destiny of millions. Behind closed palace doors, he wields quiet authority over an empire valued at more than $1.4 trillion. Who is this man whose silence speaks louder than the thunder of world leaders? Who makes presidents pause, kings wait, and markets shift with nothing but a glance? Haitham bin Tariq Al Said. While many leaders seek the spotlight, Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said of Oman remains a figure of quiet power and calculated mystery. Since ascending the throne on January 11, 2020, following the death of his cousin Sultan Qaboos bin Said, Sultan Haitham has led the Sultanate with an unshakable calm. Born on October 11, 1955, in Muscat, he is a descendant of the Al-Busaid dynasty, which has ruled Oman since 1744. Educated at Oxford University in England, he is among the rare Gulf rulers fluent in English, an asset that allows him to navigate global diplomacy without the filter of an interpreter. Before becoming Sultan, he held several prominent roles, including Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Heritage and Culture from 2002 to 2020. His role as chairman of Oman Vision 2040 also positioned him as a forward-thinking leader long before he wore the crown. Behind the Sultan's composed demeanor lies a transformative agenda. Oman's economy, once heavily reliant on oil and gas sectors that made up 60% of its exports and 75% of its budget revenues in 2020, has begun shifting under his leadership. Guided by the Vision 2040 strategy, Sultan Haitham is steering the nation toward diversification with bold investments in renewable energy, tourism, and technology. In 2023 alone, Oman signed over $35 billion in investment deals with the United Arab Emirates, reflecting his push to secure long-term growth and regional influence. His reforms go beyond economics. He restructured the royal succession by appointing his eldest son, Haitham bin Haitham, as the country's first-ever crown prince, and introduced decrees enhancing citizenship rights and freedom of speech, steps rarely seen in Gulf monarchies. Despite his sweeping reforms and vast influence, Sultan Haitham remains almost invisible to the public eye. There are no grand speeches, no flamboyant displays, and no social media presence. Yet behind this veil of discretion lies a lifestyle few can imagine. The Sultan moves across continents in a fleet of private jets worth millions, sails the seas aboard a superyacht disguised as a floating palace, and maintains heavily secured residences across Europe and the Middle East. His armored motorcade slips quietly through city streets, while his influence resonates in boardrooms and diplomatic halls around the world. Mysterious yet omnipresent, Sultan Haitham rules not with spectacle but with silent precision. Sovereign of the skies. But this is not merely a tale of opulence, it is the embodiment of a vanishing style of leadership rooted in legacy, restraint, and silent command. Sultan Haitham bin Tariq's reign is not defined by noise or notoriety, but by an enduring connection to Oman's cultural soul and a mastery of modern sovereignty. While billionaires circle the globe for leisure or luxury, the Sultan owns the skies with one of the most elite private aviation fleets in the world, operated under the Royal Flight of Oman. At the heart of this fleet is the majestic Boeing 747-8 BJ, codenamed Nisr the Eagle, valued at over $200 million. Far beyond a mode of transportation, this aircraft is an airborne palace featuring gold-plated interiors, hand-stitched leather furnishings, private suites, high-security command centers, and fully equipped conference rooms. Each journey is not simply a flight, but a projection of Omani sovereignty, dignity, and command. Supporting the flagship 747 are other specialized aircraft tailored for strategic versatility. The Airbus A319 and A320 handle regional missions, while the Gulfstream G550, a long-range jet capable of flying nearly 7,000 miles non-stop, provides unmatched speed and stealth. For the most sensitive operations, Sultan Haitham turns to a Eurocopter Super Puma helicopter and a dedicated rapid response jet, ensuring he can travel from palace halls to the nation's farthest frontiers in mere minutes. These aircraft are not on standby for luxury, they are precision tools of power. Every crew member is handpicked, every flight path meticulously secured, every detail aligned with national security and mobility strategy. In Sultan Haitham's world, control of the skies equals control of the narrative, and wherever he lands, authority is already waiting. Silent power at sea. If the skies belong to Sultan Haitham, then the oceans are his silent stage of influence. He owns two of the world's most opulent and heavily protected superyachts, Fulk al-Salamah and al-Said, each a floating fortress blending statecraft with splendor. The Fulk al-Salamah, meaning ship of peace, is valued at over $500 million and functions as far more than just a royal retreat. It serves as a mobile palace, diplomatic command center, and floating embassy, complete with conference halls, a helipad, a medical suite, and even a beach club. Every detail is calculated for both elegance and utility, making it a platform for strategic meetings and soft diplomacy at sea, always under the radar, but never unnoticed. Its sister ship, the Al-Said, is a $300 million maritime marvel built in Germany, outfitted with interiors crafted from hand-carved Omani wood, silk-lined salons, and even a private orchestra hall. This is no ordinary yacht, it is a moving symbol of Oman's prestige, tradition, and quiet authority. When Sultan Haitham arrives at an international port, it's not just a visit, it's a message. His yachts are floating statements of wealth and power, designed not for spectacle, but for subtle dominance. Combining traditional Omani design with cutting-edge technology, these vessels are both cultural ambassadors and strategic assets, reminding the world that real influence doesn't shout its sails. The Sultan's Convoy. In a region where power is often displayed with grandeur, Sultan Haitham bin Tariq's convoy is the definition of quiet supremacy. At the heart of this moving fortress is the Mercedes-Maybach S600, a luxury sedan cloaked in ballistic armor and engineered for absolute silence. When its engine hums to life, it doesn't just signal movement, it sends a clear message: the Sultan is near, and every possible threat is under control. Unlike the flamboyant supercar stables of tech moguls like Elon Musk or collectors such as Manny Koshbin, Sultan Haitham's automotive fleet doesn't shout, it whispers authority. Every vehicle is chosen with precision, not for flash, but for what it represents: understated dominance. The Sultan's motorcade often begins with a $3 million Bugatti Chiron, the fastest and most elite vehicle on Omani roads. Powerful yet eerily quiet, it sets the tone for a procession that is both regal and calculated. For ceremonial occasions, he opts for a custom Rolls-Royce Phantom with hand-stitched interiors, gliding almost silently as if levitating through the streets. These are not mere status symbols, they are armored masterpieces equipped with cutting-edge security systems. Even the seemingly standard Mercedes E-Class serves a deeper purpose, symbolizing state continuity with its blend of elegance and embedded defensive features. When circumstances call for both power and rugged resilience, the Sultan turns to the Bentley Bentayga, a bulletproof SUV that combines handcrafted luxury with battlefield-grade toughness. It's more than just a car, it's a message on wheels. But what surrounds the Sultan is more than automotive artistry, it's a security protocol rivaling military operations. Every movement is mapped in advance by elite security units trained in intelligence, logistics, and counter-surveillance. These teams are deployed days before any public appearance, combing through the location, identifying emergency routes, and positioning tactical response forces with clockwork accuracy. When the motorcade rolls, it becomes a living machine of protection: armored vehicles, motorcycle outriders, medical units, and remote surveillance teams all moving in synchronized formation. Every traffic light, every turn, and even the airspace above is secured. Overhead, Royal Flying Patrol helicopters circle while drones relay live feeds to mobile command centers. Sultan Haitham doesn't just travel, he mobilizes a state. Quiet authority. This was no mere ceremony, it was a ritual. From the moment Sultan Haitham bin Tariq al-Said steps out in public, every movement is choreographed with quiet precision. There are no flashing sirens or theatrical escorts. Instead, his security operates like a well-oiled machine, invisible yet impenetrable. What is most striking, however, is not the scale of protection but the serenity that surrounds it. This understated discipline mirrors the Sultan's leadership style: calm, methodical, and deeply intentional. Whether he appears before a crowd or deliberately refrains, each gesture, each silence, carries meaning. For Sultan Haitham, presence isn't just being seen, it's a powerful message carefully delivered without words. Power in today's world no longer hinges on armies or fiery speeches, but on subtlety, how a leader walks into a room and how his silence commands attention. Since ascending the throne in 2020, following the death of the revered Sultan Qaboos, Sultan Haitham has embodied that new era of influence. His name, revealed from a sealed envelope left behind by Qaboos, surprised many outside the kingdom. But within Oman, Haitham was already known as the steady hand behind decades of cultural preservation and diplomatic finesse. As Minister of Heritage and Culture for nearly 20 years, he protected Oman's identity while quietly preparing for the responsibilities he would one day inherit. Upon assuming power, he faced mounting economic challenges and a shifting regional landscape, but instead of reacting with force, he responded with strategic reforms, reaffirming Oman's role as a neutral and stabilizing voice in the Middle East. Behind his composed exterior lies a vast and calculated royal footprint. The Sultan's residences are more than homes, they are emblems of authority and instruments of diplomacy. In Muscat, the Al-Alam Royal Palace stands as a blend of traditional Islamic architecture and modern elegance, serving as a powerful national symbol. Beyond Oman's borders, Sultan Haitham owns discreet, high-security resorts scattered across Europe and Southeast Asia, used not for luxury display but for private meetings and quiet retreats. These hidden palaces, known only to a few, are guarded as closely as state secrets. Each location is chosen not just for beauty, but for strategic purpose, reminding the world that the Sultan may lead with silence, but his influence speaks volumes. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Join us as we uncover more hidden lives and silent powers behind the world's most influential figures. Your support helps us bring history to life quietly, but powerfully. Offbeat investments, farms, robots, and homegrown meat. If you thought Mark only invests in tech, think again. In recent years, he's leaned into a very unexpected lifestyle choice: farming. On his massive Hawaiian estates, he's developed a self-sustaining ecosystem complete with organic gardens, goat pens, and chemical-free crops. But here's the kicker: Mark doesn't just play farmer. He builds robots to do the farming. Yes, there are rumors of a goat-herding drone. Not joking. Even more fascinating, he follows a personal rule: he only eats meat if he's killed the animal himself. It's a lifestyle choice that's both admirable and a little intense. Forget golden steaks in Dubai. This is the billionaire who butchers his own chicken in a forest, then uses AI to cook it perfectly. Minimalist fashion, billionaire in a gray t-shirt. Steve Jobs had the black turtleneck. Zuckerberg, the infamous gray tee. In fact, Mark once revealed that he owns dozens of identical gray shirts because making decisions, even fashion ones, distracts from important work. It's part of his philosophy of decision fatigue reduction. Sounds like an excuse to avoid shopping? Maybe, but when you're running the metaverse and managing 750 acres in Hawaii, who has time to pick a shirt? And let's be real, if your net worth has 11 zeros, you can wear a potato sack and still be the best-dressed guy in the room. Real estate strategy, privacy, power, and permanent roots. One of the most consistent themes in Zuckerberg's real estate portfolio is total privacy. Whether it's buying all the houses around his own in Palo Alto or snapping up entire beaches in Hawaii, Mark isn't just buying homes, he's buying space, silence, and strategic advantage. Every move is about control. Control over who sees in, who gets close, even who builds next door. In an age where privacy is sold for ad clicks, Zuckerberg is doing the opposite, building physical firewalls between himself and the world. He doesn't just log off, he moves entire mountains to stay unbothered. The quiet king of tech, Mark Zuckerberg, may not be the flashiest figure in the Billionaire Boys Club, but make no mistake, he plays the game on a different level. Where others show off, he shuts down. Where others build status symbols, he builds citadels. His lifestyle is a masterclass in controlled luxury, silent wealth, and fortress-level privacy. With properties stretching from California to Hawaii, Zuckerberg has designed a life where he's always in control of the data, the land, and the view. Whether you see him as a reclusive genius or a digital emperor in disguise, there's no denying it. Zuckerberg isn't just building platforms. He's building a legacy, one estate at a time. So, if you had to pick, would you rather live in his cozy Palo Alto base, the yacht-ready Tahoe estate, or ride out your days on a tropical farm surrounded by papayas and lawsuits? Let us know in the comments. Who knows, maybe Zuck's watching. And if not, at least now you've got some new real estate goals.